All right, good morning. We're just going to get started here today. We are missing my co-host, Prince of Picks. He is on the road today, but we have the residential college basketball expert, DrewDelucci, with us today. Coming off a 3-2 win. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? How you doing, man?
Good. I think it was 2 and 3, sadly, but we had some
They blew the
mishaps.
game at the end there. Oh gosh.
Yeah, Texas A&M blew it. Corpus
Wow.
Christi. Yeah, it's these mid majors, but luckily I put less usually on mid majors because you can't always fully trust them. So yeah, yeah, they blew a halftime lead, but it was one of those where if Florida A&M didn't blow a 12-point lead, and then if Ohio State up 50-32 at half didn't ease off the gas, which they usually don't do, it could have been a 4-1, but it happens. Right reads, but unfortunate things.
Yeah. I also had the right read, the wrong end of the play when the Boston Bruins were up 1 goal with just a couple minutes left, and then they gave up a goal and then lost it in overtime. So I went 1-1 because the 76ers got absolutely demolished yesterday. That was a good call. But what else was a good call was Prince of Pix's picks. He went 3-0. The Lakers Bulls sailed over 235.5. Warriors Wolves under 232. And Norwich City got the win straight up. And not to mention Brad Betts, who went 1-0. So good day overall. We're going to keep attacking, though, and, moving forward. We're
For
going to start.
sure, that Warriors game was like with Curry and sitting out. I can tell the Warriors like we don't care about this game. So the under was a good call. They had 50 something points going into the fourth quarter. I was like, oh geez.
Yeah, you got to be careful in some of these spots, and knowing when to pick them really does help a lot. I'm gonna lead it off to you. What sport would you like to start with today?
Oh yeah, for sure. I will say for later. Luckily, we have a lot of good Power Five conference basketball games going on because the weather is clearing up. So they're putting a lot of the games supposed to be played yesterday are playing today. So that's good. We can talk about NBA though.
All right, yeah, let's get started in the NBA. There's a few matchups here, and I actually did something kind of dumb, but kind of fun at the same time here. I was looking through each of these matchups, and I really wanted to get a feel for the games. I actually put a money line parlay together with all the betting favorites because I kind of like each spot for these teams. I don't know if they cover the full spread, but you know, give me the Trailblazers, the Knicks, 76ers, Thunder, Suns, Pistons, and Clippers on a 403 parlay over on FanDuel. I actually kind of think that this has a little bit of sprinkle fun in it. You have any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree that I can see a lot of I don't really see where a lot of these underdogs win because I think the Nuggets still without Jokic and crew, right?
Yeah, yep, and that's going to
Yeah,
be my best bet of the day coming up. But yeah,
yeah, minus
they're
7.5 is too low.
they're they're struggling. They're going to probably most likely struggle tonight. I would think, especially against the 76er team that got embarrassed yesterday, rested their starters, and I kind of like them coming back and kicking butt at home. This is also snow and bad weather all around here in Philadelphia, which is never easy. We talked about this yesterday for a road team coming in, and the 76ers have played really tough. I've chosen my spots to fade them, but I've also chosen my spots to back them. And I honestly think that they do get the job done. But here's what I did for the games tonight. I took this an NBA minus 4.5 spread parlay, taking the 76ers and the Knicks. I don't know if either team covers the almost double digit spread here, but I do like the 76ers covering by at least 5 points. And on the other side, I like the Knicks covering by 5 points as well. The Kings, sorry, not the LA Kings, that's hockey. But the Sacramento Kings, right? They are in absolute disarray, riding a 5-game losing streak here. And that the fact that the Kings beat the Knicks just 2 weeks ago makes me like this all the more so. I think that the Kings will try to keep their high, fast pace going, and the Knicks will be able to pounce late in the game to kind of cover at least the 4.5, if not the entire spread. And you can get that at minus 128 over on FanDuel as of an
That's
hour
not
ago.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see honestly this sounds crazy, but I can see the Kings covering 13 and a half because I see the one of those where the Knicks like, it's always wild out, never in doubt, but it stays within like 3 or 4, and the Knicks pull away and they win by like 9 or 10.
Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I expect. So I didn't want to take the full spread, which was something that I was really looking at as well. But I think -4.5 here is a fun little parlay. And at -128 on FanDuel, you're getting a solid value on the price there. I believe that the price should be around -150 or more. And I think that's what you see on the other books right now. What do you got for us in the NBA? Do you have any thoughts? There's a few games, right? There's six games going on tonight, 7 games. Do you have any looks? Do you have any thoughts that you want to see?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There was one that I liked. I might not necessarily bet it, but I like looking at NBA and giving. Sometimes I'll give my friends like advice and stuff, right? Because I'll bet college and I only want to bet like a certain amount. So, but there's one I might do. I think 219.5 for the Bucks Sixers game to me is a little too low in my personal opinion, just because one of the things is the Sixers, of course, they can score points and they're playing their starters personally, and their defense has been as great. I know the Bucks just have completely collapsed, but the Bucks defense isn't as great too. I feel like 219.5 is too low for this game personally, with how both offenses play and they're willy nilly offenses where they'll just go down the court and just shoot it for the heck of it. So
Yeah, I like that quite a lot, actually. Both teams, yeah, they got a little bit of rest under them. So even if they do struggle late in the game without Giannis, the Bucks are coming off are rested, so that they could probably score points or at least push this to where 76ers really need to kind of pull away at the end with Maxey and Embiid, who, God willing, is playing because my bet is based on him being in the lineup.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I was looking at some of like the Sixers past games, right? Like not necessarily counting like the Hornets game, right? Of course, but like if you look at it, Rockets versus Sixers was 122 to 128. Knicks at Sixers was 112 to 109, which is the high scoring game for the Knicks. And then Suns versus Sixers was like 116 to 110. Like a lot of the Sixers games they're involved in are always in the hundreds. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a good point. They're going to have to tighten that defense up come come playoff time if they want to be competitive. I have a question for you, and feel free just to be like I don't know or pass. But what's going on with the Thunder lately? I know that we're in the dog days of the NBA season, but they're getting the 14 and a half on the spread against the Pelicans, but I kind of wanted to go with the Thunder side, sorry, the Pelican side here with the plus 14 and a half. They've been playing a lot better lately, and the Thunder have not. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
yeah, so my personal thing with this, because of course, as a Warriors fan, I it was funny because when the Thunder started off, I think what was it like 17-1 and stuff. I had friends that would message me like, "What about breaking the records?" Like, no, like they're gonna finish probably 65-17 or something. Like they're not gonna lose 17 games. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but no one's gonna replicate what the Warriors did in the regular season. Like Curry was just on a different level, and so was Klay Thompson, and like all of them, they're a weld machine. And that was before the NBA was able to catch up with, because nobody knew how to guard the three until like after that year, and they would just let them shoot. And I think this is one of those things where every team now, when they face them, are giving them their best. The Warriors solid in the playoffs to where they were down 3-1 to the Thunder, ironically. And the key with this is the Thunder are just getting too complacent at this point, and I think they're trying to cruise, and they haven't flipped that switch now, and they feel like they got all. They're trying to get that 73-9 thing out of their head, and I think once it does, they'll go back to normal self. For saying that, I think 14 and a half is too much. Vegas is doing it because they're afraid that it's going to go to that again, where it's like, oh, Thunder are going to start blowing people out again.
Yeah, that makes sense. If I see more than 14 and a half live, I think I might just have to jump on it. But that is definitely a lean for me. And another lean that I have was actually
Definitely a live bet, though. I will say, if you like, I think live betting the Thunder is smart to see how they're playing in the beginning.
Yeah. See if they're going to come out dominant, and if they're coming out dominant, they usually kind of ease up, trying to rest some people in the second quarter. The line should at least be around 14 and a half, but if it goes past 20, you got to take the underdogs. Another team that I was looking at here was the Suns. I'm not sure how the Brooklyn Nets are going to be competitive here. Um, 8.5 is a lot for a team that's been struggling lately in the last two games, but the Suns are a good team, right? They should be able to cover it against a completely collapsed Nets team.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. As someone who is married to a Suns fan, 'cause I'm in, of course, Arizona, right? So she's a big fan of the Suns and stuff. So something I will say though about the Suns, they did play the Nets at the Nets. I believe it was last Monday, and they won by like 9 or 10 points. Suns have played a lot of close games recently. I don't think they've had a double digit. I don't think they had a double digit win in a long time. I know I forgot when it was. I would have to let me look it up real quick. Um,
Yeah, and while you're
yeah, the
looking
last
at
time
it,
that double digit win was, it looks like January 2nd. Like anytime they win a game, it's close. So that's what probably Vegas is saying. But I mean, you can play the game where, oh, they beat them at like 8 at Brooklyn's home. So you can say they could beat them by more here. So it's kind of sketchy for me because they do play close games. So I don't know.
yeah, and that's a good point. That's part of the reason why I am leaning off on the Suns and taking a money line parlay with them instead. Um, but yeah, it's a good point. And honestly, the when I saw that they played and that the Suns beat them on the road over there, that's really when I laid off because I don't like taking teams to beat other teams two in a row, especially in professional sports. It's just so hard. I mean, but gonna look for a live number and see if I can get the Suns on a lower line there. And the last lean that I had here, and this is rare for me that I rank all of these teams, but the Clippers against the Jazz at home. I think the Clippers got to be the hottest team in the NBA. They've won 18 of the last 21. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden are playing well, right?
Yeah, they're playing really well. I honestly I like the Clippers a lot. Personally, it's crazy. They're digging from the hole. They're 21, I think, in like 24 now or something like that, when they were like 10 games below 500. And personally, they're playing some. Well, speaking of that, I'm pretty sure they faced the Nets last game. They beat them by like 35 points. So I mean, and like I know the Nets are terrible, but sometimes they make stuff competitive. That's impressive. I personally think 8.5 is a little too low. At the Jazz in Utah, it's not that terrible of a travel either from going from LA. There's something about the Jazz I will say is this. Like, I see the Jazz all the time because their defense is so bad, but their offense is so fun to watch because of Keontae George, Larry Markkinen, Collier and stuff. They're just a fun young team to watch. But their problem is this is a great live betting spot because I remember I watched them play the Clippers one time, and they'll go up by 10 on a team and then they'll end up losing by 20 somehow. So if you feel like the Jazz, which they do a lot, they'll go up early, you can probably catch the Clippers spread lighter.
Yeah, that's an excellent look and exactly something that I'm going to be looking to attack. All of these NBA games are live to kind of keep track of to see where they are live because they're all really good spots. And I don't say this often, but I think that each favorite tonight in the NBA has a really good chance of winning, at least winning, if not covering outright. But let's move on to
Yeah.
the NHL, where I had trouble yesterday with the Bruins not coming through. Squishy's pick, if you were following him, his over 6.5 goals did come through thanks to a late goal by the New York Rangers. I should have known better. The Rangers had a ceremony honoring past players, and that gives a little bit extra motivation in the moment to really not lose in front of your your heroes.
They also lost 8 straight.
Yeah, it's a rough, but I did have two leans here. Every time I have a lean, they kind of come through. The last time I had a lean, I had the lean Friday night on the over 6.5 and on the Vegas Knights, both of which came through. I think the Vegas Knights scored 6 on their own. But I have a strong lean with the Detroit Red Wings against an inconsistent Los Angeles Kings team on the road. I know Simon Evanson is out. and that's why it's only a lean. But the money line price has come down to where it's very playable. I think it's a minus 115 right now. And then also another home team that I like, the juice was just a little bit too much for me to handle. The Florida Panthers at minus 145 is a team that I'm going to look to bet live to see if I can get a better price at minus 115 or better. Any thoughts on the ice or any games in general?
Yeah, I'm not trying to be biased with my Sharks, but something I will say, I think the Sharks are getting a little kind of disrespected on the road here versus the Canucks. I believe they're only minus 125. People forget about the Canucks on their home ice this year, which is pretty pathetic. They're 5-16-3, which of course means 5 wins, 16 losses, and 3 losses in overtime, right? And like they only have 39 points on the season, which are the fewest in the league, and they're just 1-11-2 since the start of September. The Sharks are still vying for a playoff spot, believe it or not. But I just think that's hard value not to pass up. I think what they're thinking is that sometimes the Sharks, like Vegas is probably thinking like, hey, they're not necessarily buying the Sharks quite a bit yet because sometimes they'll win by 3, sometimes they won't, right? But I just think that's very good value not to pass up with how bad the Canucks have been playing since December.
Yeah, that's a good look. My model has them taking the has a value on the money line at minus 134, and you can get the money line right now on the Sharks at minus 125 over on DK. So it's definitely a value play based on my model. Yeah, you know what? I'll play that. Why not? Sprinkle a little
Uh,
bit, see if you can get even a better price live. That's kind of how I like to do these
I,
things.
I do have a couple other looks in hockey. Like, of course, these aren't like guaranteed, but ones that I've noticed when I'm like looking at it is uh like the Maple Leaf Sabres is interesting, right? Like the fact they're pricing this, I believe, at like basically even I believe the pricing at basically even money. Yeah, it's like one minus 108 to minus 112. I personally like so the Sabres are a very hot team right now, and the Leafs have to decide whether they're going to be buyers or sellers. Like they have had a really disappointing season for their standards, you know. But I feel like the Leafs need to win in front of the home crowd to show them something. But I don't know if I'm going to touch that game. I feel like I want to watch them play first. And if you want an overplay that's actually like interesting to me would be the Stars Blues. It's at 5.5. um, the Stars are one of the best teams at scoring goals, right? And Jake Ottinger, though, has struggled a lot defending goals as well. And something about I've noticed about the Blues is like on Saturday against the Kings, which aren't a easy team to score on. They just scored 4 goals against them. I just think 5.5 is too low for this kind of game, personally. So yeah.
Yeah, I very much agree with you. The sharp money is on the play as well, and if I were personally looking at it, I would kind of just want to stick on the Dallas side, maybe a team total or something. But I think that my over 5.5 is a very sharp look and definitely something that we should be looking at. I'll take a sweet
Yeah,
tea too.
but overall, I don't necessarily have anything else. I have a buddy who will like recommend like hockey plays for me and stuff. Like he likes the Wild, but that's too heavy of money for me at like minus. I think it's like minus 150. And then he likes the Jets game over, but I don't trust any overs with Jets. The Jets games will either be like 2 goals or they'll be like 7 goals.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, especially if a team gets up early. They kind of just park it and not really wanting to risk it so much. Why don't you bring us into college basketball and your best bets there?
Yeah, definitely. We got some good Power Five conference games. I did research on games that aren't like necessarily 10.5 anymore 'cause I'm tired of backdoor covers. But no, I got some really good value plays that I did really good research on. My first one would have to be, and I think this is truly a faulty line. And I think the only reason it is this way, Arkansas at Oklahoma, is because people think Arkansas is desperate. I don't ever like playing when it comes to college basketball where it's like, oh, they're desperate, they have to win, because to me that's just, luck betting, right? They're 1-6 in the conference. They were desperate all the time if you're 1-6 in the conference. And their tourney window is basically out the window personally, especially in the SEC. And Arkansas is 5-2 and they can't afford to lose, another road game. But overall, Arkansas is just straight the better team. The fact that they're -2.5 is absolutely absurd. Like my model says they should be like -12 in this stage. Because I mean, Arkansas is coming off a close win to LSU, which they shouldn't, right? But they also blew out Vanderbilt, who's a very good team. They've had some sketchy losses on the road. And lastly, Oklahoma came off a buzzer beater from Missouri, and I personally think that can be demoralizing. That's a thing you can factor in is if you come off a buzzer beater to lose a game, like a 3 to lose, that can be terrible. But if you look at Oklahoma's just conference, I like looking at conference stats in this point because you're playing like even teams, and then I do the full season for like stabilization. Uh, Oklahoma's basically last in everything, and Arkansas's offense is absolutely amazing, and I trust him. I love Darius Acuff. I love how they just play in general. Oklahoma can score, but I don't think they'll be able to keep up with Arkansas. So I'll take the -2.5 at -115 on DK.
Nice, good look. Yeah, if they can get out of losing on the road in their current rut, they can't lose on the road forever. It's got to come at some
Yep.
point. So yeah,
If
glad to see
anything, I
that.
think they need it more than Oklahoma does, no matter how desperate Oklahoma is, because John Calipari, I know he knows that. He's a seasoned coach. He knows they can't lose on the road anymore in the SEC.
Yeah. Good point. Got anything else for us, man?
Yeah, I have three more picks. I'm just sticking with four today. I was going to do three, but I like all of these personally. Oh, the one I mentioned yesterday. Personally, I know a lot of people that I'm close with who are sharp bettors too, and they do a lot of research. I think 10.5 is way too much for Nebraska and Michigan. Like I've been riding Nebraska for a while now, and they just keep covering and covering and covering for me. Like people thought they wouldn't cover against Minnesota. I took them -4.5. They were down, and the next thing you know, they're up. I think these teams are just so even teams metrically, conference and regular, where you can't like. I get there. I am a fan of Michigan because I have some family that went there, but they keep on banking because Michigan's going to start blowing out teams again. But Michigan hasn't really covered these big spreads recently, and Nebraska should not be 10.5 point dogs. It should only be like 2.5 point dogs. If you think about it, if you look at the metrics, they're very similar defensively, very similar offensively. Like this looks like one of those where it should be even in the plus points for the home court. So give me Nebraska plus 10.5. I'll ride with them.
All righty, sounds like a play. I'm excited to see how that
Yeah.
one plays out. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, good game. I can't pass up 10.5 for a 20-0 team. You know, it's and they face good teams. But my other one would have to be is let me see. My other one, okay, so this one, I got -3.5 for at -125, 120, -127, which isn't bad, but now it's at -153. I personally take it now at -4.5 still. Purdue at Indiana. I like Purdue in this game to bounce back at Indiana after their loss to Illinois. I took Illinois to cover, was one of the most unfortunate losses because they still only lost by 6. And I don't know if you saw, Keaton Wagler had probably the greatest freshman performance, not even fresh performance, greatest performance I've ever seen by a basketball player ever, like in college. He went like 9 of 11 from three, 13 of like 16 from the field. It's like, and they still only lost by 6 at home. So I just think that like no, Purdue's going to bounce back for this. I'm not necessarily a big fan of this Indiana team. Tarley, we saw Nebraska go there. They're up by 16.5, and then they blew a lead. Like Indiana takes care of the bad teams, but they struggle with the good teams at the end of the day. And I trust Braden Smith and crew to handle this well. They also are a much better rebounding team too, as well. And some other things I noticed also is so both teams don't get to the line that much, right? But the problem is Indiana fouls a lot, Purdue doesn't foul a lot, right? And then another thing I noticed is both teams are pretty good at shooting the three, right? And then Purdue is really good at just shooting the two, which Indiana's not great at defending. And it's just overall the offense for Purdue, I trust with their defense. The defense has a +7 efficiency rating over Indiana's. And I just trust the well seasoned team and Matt Painter to at least cover 4.5.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. It's a game that I was had my eye on to try to bet live. I would rather not pay the spread price, but and get the money line, but I think that is the right play. And it looks like 98% of America agrees with you.
Yeah, I was able to get it at -3.5. Luckily, like for -127, which isn't bad. Now it's -5.5 or -105, I think. Honestly, if you want to do it, you can do it live. If you think Indiana will just if Indiana scores the first bucket, it'll drop a point. So that's what you can bank on at home possibly. But I like that. And then my last and final play. Let me see if I can pull it up. I had it right here. Let's see one quick. Yeah, I have one more play. I write all this stuff down. Of course, I what I do is like Um, I'll place it like the day before, and then wake up in the morning and I start working a little bit. I'll forget. But oh, there it is. This is my favorite play of the day, by the way, even more than Arkansas. Let me see if the line is still where it's at. But Creighton -1.5 at Marquette. I think this line is -1.5 or -112, or you can do -130 for money line, which I did. It's honestly, it's a Big East battle. Big East games are weird. Marquette's play teams closer at home, but Marquette is not a good team, personally, in my opinion. I think they're 2-8 in conference. Creighton, I believe, is like 5-2 or 5-3 or something like that. And then Creighton faced at home Marquette 84-63. They won by 21 points. This is one of those things where I know it's hard to beat the same team twice, but Marquette hasn't proven enough to me to where they can honestly compete in this kind of game. And Creighton just came off a really good win against Xavier. I think they won on a buzzer beater by one of their best players, Schwartz. So I just overall like Creighton in general. I think Creighton honestly could win by a lot more than that, personally. Let me pull this up real quick. Oh, there we go. So yeah, there was one thing that I noticed, like a big discrepancy, especially Marquette in conference. Marquette is last in offensive rebounds allowed in conference. They're last in non-steal percentage, and one of the things that they struggle with is just defense in general. And I could see why that Creighton won the last game, because Creighton in the conference is number one in 3-point percentage, number one in 2-point percentage, while Marquette has a 115.9 defensive rating, and they're one of the worst at defending the two. They cannot prevent teams from getting offensive rebounds. It's just they have no advantages in this game, and I think it'll be as similar to the first game.
Nice look. Personally, I would recommend just sticking with the money line. They have a lot of close games that they come out on top of, but I wouldn't want to risk it on a 1 point game if you don't have to, especially if the juice isn't so bad. And you can honestly probably wait live and get that even at a better
Yeah,
line. It's going to be tight
and
for
Creighton
most
blows
of the
leads.
game.
That's what pisses me off about Creighton. I'll say when I do bet on them, right? If I ever, I done it like before. They'll go up by 10, by the way, Stern, and then they'll end up losing by 5 or 6. Like that's what Marquette does. I mean, like Marquette does that. They'll literally go up by 10, and then they just can't score for a while, and then they'll just lose.
Yeah, and I kind of keep track of Marquette because I lived right there for a few years in high school, going into high school. So yeah, it's definitely a good look there to fade them live if they're ever up against good teams.
Yeah, it's not It's honestly not Shaka Smart's fault. He doesn't have a good roster. I'm a big fan of Shaka Smart. He's proven his coaching tenure at multiple places. He just has one, like honestly, he probably has one really good player. Nigel James, a freshman, and Ross is pretty good too. But besides that, he doesn't really have a roster that can compete in the Big East. So I don't like when I don't like when there's a lot of heavy, I know, Marquette fans that will say like, "Oh, Shaka's not the reason. Shaka's the reason you guys haven't. Shaka's the reason why you guys are not defeated." You know, like yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes you got to have the tools to be able to do what you want to do. Yeah. Any other looks across sports for today? Any look backs from yesterday or the day before that? You can also speak on anything you want coming up, whatever you want. The floor is
yeah.
yours.
So I would say a good live betting opportunity, in my opinion. I'm not going to touch this game pre-game, but Kentucky is plus 6.5 at Vandy. Kentucky's been playing really well. Vandy just got back on a big win after they lost 3 straight. I think 6.5 is too many points, but if you want to monitor that game, I would see how Kentucky is playing because I think Kentucky can keep within 6.5. But it's one of those to see how many threes Vandy's hitting at home. So I would say if you notice Kentucky is able to prevent them from taking threes and they're dominating in the paint, that's not a bad possible live money line to nibble on there.
Excellent look. Absolutely excellent look. Thank you so much, man, for doing the show. We do miss Prince of Picks, and he'll be back with us, I believe, on Thursday. So if you're available tomorrow, please feel free to come on and host again. But yeah, this was an excellent episode, and I'm really happy we got to do it together.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm definitely happy. I have
Go for it.
one more look, honestly. One more thing for college basketball, real quick. So, Miami of Ohio is, I think, minus 9.5. Everybody knows Miami, Ohio. They're undefeated against UMass. I would say if you see Miami, Ohio at 1 point, they're down by 10 and they get to plus money, I'd bet them live to win.
Excellent look. Excellent look. All right, just going to close this out here. This is one of our shorter episodes, but it is just a Tuesday, and we're going to have more as the week goes on, including some NFL best bets. I am currently diving into the games and trying to see what value I can glean before the prices just get too big. But definitely like and subscribe our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts from, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're really everywhere, and we really appreciate it if you gave us a rating, and even comments, whatever you can do. We appreciate it. We're growing really quickly, but it is just us, and we're doing what we can. So thank you so much from me, SternBets, Drew DeLucchi. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.